Hi guys, it's me, Carrie Silver Lining Mena, and my journey as a twin flame runner continues. And in this video I'm about to share, I reached a place of a place of surrender. I thought I had surrendered before. I did not. I was very confused, and I sorted through some stuff. And I found my other place of surrender, and I spent a few days feeling such relief and such freedom. And I go into that on this video. But then it didn't take long for me to fall right back into work, inner work. And I'm still working through what's going on next. But let me just tell you a little bit about this video. And in the last one I did, I spoke about that humble pie. Well, even in this video I'm about to show what comes next, I'm still trying to work it out. And it wasn't, and I think, I'll really try to analyze it. What the fuck is this? I think it's just, I felt wrong about the decision I had made, but I didn't realize it. It just felt wrong. And it came out as, well, I said eating a slice of humble pie, but maybe it was like swallowing my words and eating my voice and not having the blue chakra working for me. Maybe that's what that was. And this video, it has a ring of talking shit, but it really isn't. And something that in this one in particular, well, my whole journey, but this one in particular really had it hit home, because I do feel a sense of responsibility to be kind to others while I want to be authentic in my own expressions. So not only that, the emotions that I feel are so extreme. And I'm going to jump ahead right now just for comparison's sake. When I engage with my twin, my chaser twin, when I engage with him, I'm too angry. I don't want to say his name right now. It makes me feel unreasonably angry. So I'm dissecting those feelings of anger that I just set myself free of. They came right back. We had a minimal exchange. I actually wanted to give him a heads up and let him know that I'm still sharing my story, and that I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm not shit talking or bad mouthing him. Although it does have some, it might feel like that a little bit. And so what I want to say about that is to remind, this particular video shows how I'm connecting all of my experiences, how just it all stemmed from one place. And so when I messaged Jesse to let him know that I was going to post these videos, one of the things I realized was that we're still not on the same page. There's still so much missing. For example, I've laid out my boundaries to him, and I said, I don't want my message box stuffed full of unessential information. But he comes back to me and says, okay, got it. The pictures I post trigger you. And it's like, I don't know how to make it any more clearer. It's not the content. I don't even know what he was talking about. Did he mean pictures he posted on his wall? Because I don't look at his wall. If he's posted pictures, I haven't seen them, so they haven't triggered me. But if he means the pictures that he shares in our private threads, there was one picture that absolutely triggered me, and I'm fairly convinced that was their doing in order to have me react the way I did. But generally speaking, the pictures he sends, I'm just not interested in. And it's not him in particular. Well, it is him in particular, but it goes across the board. I don't want it from anybody. And I went on this big tirade about that in this video. But because he still doesn't understand it and thinks it's the pictures, there's such a huge lack of communication. And even though that might seem this big, it represents something else. It represents me not being heard. And the feelings I'm feeling right now are still a feeling of being oppressed, of being chained down and shackled. And I guess this is in my own beliefs. I don't know. I'm still working that out. But what I want to get at is, I've done this twin thing so many times, and what that person hears is not often what this person is saying. It doesn't, and there's so much lack of communication. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because This is not a real, it feels very real to us, but this is a recreation of a past trauma. So it doesn't even have to be, oh, what's the word? I just had a good word. I lost it. It doesn't even have to be accurate. All it has to do is trigger. So all of these things I'm talking about in this video might not resonate with him whatsoever. He might have a completely different take on what's going on. And I believe that that's not an accident. If that happens, if there's misinterpretations, it's intentional because I need this experience and he needs this experience. So if he's hearing me say, I hate your pictures, then that's what he needs to hear. But I'm not saying that. So, and the things I said, I pretty much said, well, I'll just wait. I'll let you see it. But he makes me feel a certain way, and that might not even be reality at all. But the things he says and the things he does, they serve as triggers to bring me back to that place of trauma and needing to heal. So when I talk about my story, realize that it's not exact. It's only healing from something else. So keep that in mind when you watch this video. Okay, I did take a couple of notes. I better take a quick peek if I can even see them. Hang on. I don't want to start this again. I did already look, but I got to look again because, there's a lot of information. Oh, okay. So here's another one. At the beginning of my my resistance towards Jesse was a reflection of me. It was a reflection of, and I kept talking about how it's filth or whatever. That's not quite exactly it. The images they were showing me were of things that people don't want to touch, but they were specific things because you don't want to touch fire or acid, battery acid. That hurts. You don't want to touch that. But those aren't the images they were showing me. They were showing me pictures of things that you just don't want to touch. So I don't mean to imply that I felt that way about him. They just showed me pictures so that I would understand at some point that I see myself as something that one does not want to touch. So I don't want it misinterpreted that I found him to be filthy or even myself to be filthy necessarily, just that I was untouchable. And let's see here. Oh, so that was a reflection of myself. But like the other twins, my relationship, my dynamic with Jesse has become a reflection of patterns. And so I'm trying to figure out what this current pattern is. I got the first layer of oppression going on, and that's what I talk about, but I still feel really angry. So I got to dig deep and find out what this anger is. And I'm not in a place of victimhood. It did irritate me that he didn't understand me, but I see, I know a repeat pattern when I see it. And if I'm still feeling angry, it's because I have more inner work. It's not because he's still being mean to me or whatever. So I don't give my power to him. I introspect. I want to see what is still bothering me to make me react in that way, because healing comes when you have no more fucks to give. Well, I still have a fuck to give because this shit's pissing me off. So I want to get to the bottom of it. And I do have more to say. I always have more to say, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up. I have a date with Sarah right now. Oh, but that poor Sarah, she's going to get an earful today. All right, you guys. Thank you for getting through that last video that was all over the place. And here I go with this one. All right, you guys. Thanks again for, allowing me to have this journey through you. Hi, guys. It's me, Carrie Silver Lining Mena. And my journey, my twin flame journey continues. In fact, I'm so eager to share what I've learned, but I can't share this one yet because I had to share the one that I did a couple weeks ago first. And I almost wanted to just attach them together, but I have a feeling that this one's going to be super long. If somehow it ends up being short, I will stick them together. But in the meantime, I'm going to publish that one despite there being mistakes in there. And mistakes is wrong because I had to go to that place and think those things in order for me to get where I'm at now. They were a necessary part of my evolution. And but some of that stuff was wrong, and I'm here to debunk myself. That's part of it, because I have come to a whole new conclusion. All that stuff I've been building up to with my uphill ride up this roller coaster and surrender. I was wrong about what the surrender was. And like most of my stories, I can't really share them in a chronological order because I'll learn things back and forth and things fall in when they're ready to fall in. So let's see, I'm not even sure where to begin, but let me go ahead. Okay, let's go back to that roller coaster ride and how much resistance I was feeling. That never went away. And I had hoped, in that last video, I mentioned that once I made the decision to go meet Jesse in Denver and follow this path that was handed to me through this past life story that I am now currently reliving through Jesse. What I'll learn, I'll have to tell you something funny in that last video. I always have to laugh at myself when I mess up my words. I can't stand my verbal typos. And I meant to say that all along I was spoon-fed my denial. The guides had been spoon-feeding me denial, but I said spoon-fooning me. I've been spoon-fooned. But I'm not so sure they were spoon feeding me my denial or not. And what I'm referring to is how many times I suspected that Jesse was a twin and asked the guides about it, and how many times they reassured me, no, you don't have to go there. And I think that I'm not sure which is the truth. I'm not sure, and that's part of the things about all of the lies and misinformation and conflicting stories comes in, is that I'm meant to not know. I'm meant to see that what the possibilities are, but I'm not meant to know for sure. And let me go ahead and start my story then, because I really don't know where to start it. I'm going to reverse way back to December when I had a reading with Heather. I included a little clip in one of my videos that I did the following year. Maybe it was January. I don't know when it was. But what Pierre had said to me, because I was in such distress. Let me remind you, when I went on my vacation I almost said with Virginia. When I went on my vacation with Sarah to Virginia, I was just a wreck, believing that Jesse was a twin, and it was inevitable that I'd end up having to sleep with him because I was in such a place of resistance. And I say sleep with him because that was the problem. I didn't want to love him. I didn't want to sleep. I'm just not attracted to him. And one of the reasons I'm meant to be repelled. It's for my benefit and his benefit. So being in such a huge place of resistance, it tortured me to feel like I had to cross that threshold and find love with him. I didn't want to at all. And because I was in such a huge place of distress and freaking out to the maximum, Pierre, and it's so interesting because have you seen on the Facebook feeds that there's a new movie with Madame Curie, with Marie Curie? So I get to kind of spy on Pierre, and maybe, I don't know how true that, the movie will make him out to be, but I'll get to kind of peek at him, see what he was like if I choose to watch it. But so Pierre's been on my mind. That movie's there, and Pierre wanted to alleviate my stress, so he came up with a plan. His original plan was to find somebody. He said, this twin shit wasn't working, and my tender heart just couldn't take another one. So at least that's what I believed, but Jesse's absolutely 100% another twin, and my heart absolutely did have to deal with it, but in a complete reverse way. In fact, before I go on with Pierre, I was making, kind of thinking, because, well, let's skip that. So I'll go back to that. Pierre had told me that in order for me to not be so stressed about that, path or whatever, he said, Carrie, I have chosen for you somebody that I know you will never be attracted to, because I wanted this to be an experience and a lesson learned through observation, not action. And I didn't realize that it would be so ingrained within you that you have to do what you think you're supposed to do. And I want you to know that you don't have to do anything, because remember, I had thought that I had to, I tried to go be with Jesse back in November at Silver Linings, and everything inside of me screamed, don't do it. So I didn't do it, but I still believed at some point I would have to. So Pierre came in and reassured me that no, you don't. And that gave me much relief. And so I kind of allowed Jesse back into my life because I believed that, well, he never really left at this point. I had not set my boundaries yet. Well, I set some and he continued to cross them, which is part of the twin flame thing. I did the same thing with mine. Because I think that the runner, one of the roles of the runner is to set boundaries, probably both ways, but it's clear as the runner that you want to put a stop to things. And boundaries are hard. They're really hard. It's hard to learn how to set boundaries because you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. So I was very vague in my boundaries with Jesse. And so anyway, I kind of, I got to a point where, I was willing to allow myself to have this relationship with Jesse because I believed that, like my relationship with Michael, that it was just pretend. It was all for him, and he needed to learn and heal and grow through me, just as I did with Michael. So I kind of, having that perspective of being on the other end, I made that allowance and let him go ahead and, pour his heart out to me and journal to me, which is what I did to Michael. I called him my interactive diary. He didn't interact very often, but it was more than just writing in a book to nobody. So I let myself be this person for Jesse, but he started to come on strong, or he actually came on strong quite a few times. And I'm not telling anything that he didn't already tell in that Stardust, or that post he made in Stardust. And he would send me gifts and drawings, and he'd fill my inbox with messages and pictures and songs and all kinds of things. And I tried to make it clear, through him, I didn't want to hurt his feelings. So I asked him to kind of back off on some of the things that he sent, or I tried to, that wasn't it at all. That's where my mistake was. I tried to let him know by complaining about other people sending me stuff that I didn't like people sending me stuff. I didn't have the nerve to just flat out say to him, please back off of non-essential information because my inbox gets so full. And anybody that's been watching this knows I have been saying these things through my videos here and in Stardust, and also on my wall. Like I had those surgeries. That was a great opportunity to say, people, please back off. I have screenshots of, I had to do 2 screenshots because there were so many unopened messages. I just wanted to record it for myself just to see how many unopened messages my box is stuffed full of all the time. So at some point, and I don't think it had anything to do with the stuffed message box, but when he saw my video saying that I had my aversion dial cranked way up for him, that's when he backed off. He unfriended me and he left me alone, and the sense of relief that washed over me. I did have to set those boundaries with him again when I was in Vegas with Heather. I was miserable in Virginia with Sarah, then I was miserable in Vegas with Heather, and I had to just both times lay down the law. Stop, back off. And he finally did last spring. But then I started, you've been watching this. I've been starting to, I finished my work through Fairy Boy. And what that was, him and Michael, among other things, but the current lesson was ditching expectations that I placed on other people. And even though I still believe it's possible that my 20s will come back to me and I will have relationships with them, I cannot ever know that for sure. So I was broken, finally. That whole Aboriginal story, all that stuff finally broke me of expectations that I placed on other, because I cannot ever control anybody else. I can only control myself. But you know what happened? And you guys watched me. You watched me walk right into this. I put expectations on myself through this past life story that Fairy Girl fed me, in that I had no other prospects. They all, I was done. So I decided to give this other guy that's pursuing me a chance. And I fucked him and I fell in love with him. So this is my new filter. This is my new, and don't forget the whole like beautiful story that I shared a couple episodes about the arranged marriage, about how the guides, my own higher self, and Eric and Voltaire and all of them, they know what's best for me. So I'm going to go ahead and listen to them with their expanded viewpoint and foresight and just believe them that I'm going to go spend some time with this guy and fall in love with him. I even believed that I would heal through a relationship with him. But I feel like that's giving my power away. And hang on. There's so much going on. So I want to go back to this expectation that was put on me. This realization, this current lesson, this breakthrough I've just had helped tie all of this stuff together. It helped tie, in fact, it helped tie the mama issues, the brothel issues, all of this stuff has been tied with a nice bow on top. And there's always seems to be more to learn, but I feel like I've come so far. I don't know how much more I can learn through Jesse. However, I feel like he's got some more learning and growing to do through me. And that rings true too, because like with Michael, I went for 4 years of learning, healing, growing through him, but he really wasn't learning and growing through me. He had moved on and was living his own life. So that may be the case here. And I don't mean to be dicky or shitty, but I've been doing this a long time. So I have the benefit of understanding patterns and understanding that things don't happen to me. I am not a victim. Anytime anything ever makes me feel bad, I have to realize why I chose to experience this. And I feel like because Jesse has not had the extensive experience I've had, that he's still a little bit in a place of being a victim, and he's given me too much power. Oh, that reminds me, I wanted to read one little exchange that we had between us to use as an example of what I mean. And I'll do that in just a sec, but Jesse and I fell right back into the old pattern that we originally had, where he was a nice guy and I was trying to, before it was, I was just trying to accept his gifts because they came from a place of gratitude for him. And who doesn't like gifts? I loved getting the presents in the mail. It was great. Who doesn't like presents? And, but I had to put a stop to all that. And I wasn't even sure why. This time I'm sure why. I have figured it out. So when he immediately, once I started talking to him again, we fell right back into old patterns. And the fervor in which he began to pursue me again, the more he pushed, the more I resisted. And I'm like, okay, I know a repeat pattern when I see one. And this is making me feel very, very uncomfortable again. So I didn't let it last months this time. I straight up told him, we're doing it again. And I have come to I'm come right back to that place of resistance. And this time we actually got a little bit angry with each other. There was a little bit of tension. There was, because my polite, indirect, and vague requests they went unheeded. So this time I felt like I had to just be blunt and just lay it out there, tell him how it was. And that irritated him. And it's so interesting how much of this goes back to the brothel. And so let me read this one exchange that we had. I should have had it ready, and I apologize for not, but it shouldn't take me too long to find it. Okay, here it is. And how interesting. I just made this screenshot on July 17th. That's interesting. Okay, so he sent me another gift in the mail. And so I said to him, I'm going to read it verbatim. And I was thanking him. And I said, it's hard for me to accept gifts without feeling like I owe something in return besides just being me. So the gifts also serve as a lesson in self-worth. Thank you. And he replied, you're very welcome. Trust me, it makes me feel as good to give them to you as it does for you to receive them. I've meant what I said from the beginning. There are no expectations tied to my generosity. I just enjoy trying to make you happy. And this really rubbed me the wrong way for the longest time. I couldn't figure out why. And then as my resistance grew, I realized that we were both completely lying to each other. And as friendly, as sweet as this exchange sounds, it wasn't, because when I say I feel like I have to give something in return rather than just being me. So thank you for giving me these gifts that hold no expectation in return. But that was wrong, because they do come at a price for me, just as all of the other things he gives me, the songs, the photographs, the links to other things that personally I've said so many times, I have enough to do in my own life. And if I want to look at something, I will go search it. But when people send me things, it obligates me to respond in some way. It puts an expectation on me to look at something that they find interesting. And I don't want to do that. I get so much of that. I'm not interested in the channelings from Archangel. Who gives a fuck? I'm not interested in any kind of political shit. I've made it very clear I live in a bubble and I don't understand things. So when people send me petitions to sign or songs to hear or channelings, or people send me videos of their children, they send me pictures of their pets. And I'm like, if I wanted to look at this stuff, I would go to your wall and look. Don't become an imposition on me. I don't want to see this stuff. So when people send me stuff, it does create a necessity for a return. And if I don't return, then I'm left with feeling shitty for ignoring them. So no matter which way, whether I invest my time through responding or invest my time through feeling shitty for ignoring something that I'm not interested in, I still have to pay a price. So for me to say that, oh, he's giving me these things without any expectation is a bunch of crap. And to further prove that, his response to me, which was, there's no expectations tied to my generosity. I just enjoy. It makes me feel good trying to make you feel good. So he's putting an expectation on me. Now I am responsible for creating joy in him. And while it seems so nice, it is a form of unconscious manipulation to get me to respond. And, so you see, it sounds like it's so nice, but it's not. And that brought me right back. This ties into my decision to go. See, this goes back. Oh God, see, so much stuff's going on. When Pierre said that this is going to be a lesson learned through observation rather than action, I got to fast forward to this trip in, where I'm here to have my virginal wedding night with my arranged marriage. And it brought me right back to the place of the boys who would be nice to me until they got what they want. It's my birthday. You're so pretty. Here's a steak. Can I get you a drink? All of these things would make me feel obligated to react in some way. And you know what happens when, you're right, that you're with the boy. He's right there. He's ready to go. And I was fine kissing and making out, but my experience told me that once you start that thing, that you have to follow through. So I'd always feel pressure. And just like Fairy Girl told me about this past life in which I will find love once I fuck the guy, that's what I was doing, with those other boys. It's like, if I do it, maybe then he'll love me. If I give him what he wants, if I give him what's expected of me, then I will have the love. And if I don't do what's expected of me, he will be mean to me and reject me and call me names. Isn't that the truth of it? If you guys are following along, some of you have had the experience of when you finally have the nerve to stand your ground and say, no, I don't want to do this. What happens? They get pissed off. They call you a cock tease. They call you a slut anyway. You didn't even do it. And now you're a slut for getting them there and not finishing the job. And that's what happened with Jesse too. I changed my mind. I said, I don't think I want to go to Colorado. I'm not going to make that decision quite yet, but I'm so uncomfortable. We can always make a plan later, but for now, I don't know what I want. And I'm sure many things in my message to him pissed him off. But what I received, what my filter allowed for me to receive from his irritation was, I can't deal with your crazy shit and I'm out. So there it was again. I told the boy that I don't want to do this. I don't want to be with you. And then I was the asshole and he ditched me. This time, however, I did not feel like a dirty slut. I did not feel rejected. Well, I was rejected, but I didn't absorb that. I was actually quite relieved because I've healed so much. I understood that it was a form of manipulation. I understood that it doesn't even matter if he gets mad. He can think whatever the fuck he wants. I'm not doing something just because somebody else, even if it's my own fucking higher self and the angels, whoever expects me to do something, I'm not going to fucking do it anymore. So let's go back and let's see how this, and you know what, when I realized this and I decided I'm not going to go, relief washed over me. And I hadn't felt this kind of relief since I decided to not go back to the shiny show. And I don't talk about that very often. There's reasons why I feel like it's not quite time to explore and investigate that. But this little tidbit is relevant right now. And me feeling that rush of relief allowed for me to dig a little bit deeper. Because even though shiny looked great from where you're sitting, behind the scenes, there was much oppression. And I was expected to do what somebody else wanted of me. I felt like I was there to do someone else's bidding. I did not have a voice. So that was very frustrating. No matter how many times I would try to assert myself, my words went unheeded. I did not have a voice. So my option there was to cut that relationship off. Huge relief. And I was very scared to do that because I believed that shiny was my path to success. Shiny was awesome. I also felt an obligation and a duty to supply it to the audience because so many people were learning from it. So once again, I had put expectations on myself because other people had put expectations on me, or I perceived that others put expectations on me. So as you can see, like the first set of twins, I put an expectation on them. The second round or third, but as the runner, I see that I put expectations on myself because others did too. Let's go back farther. Shiny was a repeat of my experience with my mom. My mom expected me to do her bidding. I was her bitch. And if I wanted to live in her house, then I was going to do as she said, and I don't have a voice. I was kind of like her property in many ways. So let's go back even farther to the brothel. The madam was I don't really remember this, but I can only assume that the madam had that same attitude. You want to live in my house, you're going to do what I say, and you don't have a voice. You're going to do what's expected of you. You're going to be a good girl and you're going to do what's expected of you. And that translated to the men because of this play. Well, I was a hooker, of course, a madam isn't meant to be like a mommy. So in that context, it fit for her to just, you don't have a voice. When it was the mama, that was a different kind of damage. But I was expected to do the sexing with the men. And so do you see how this is all tying, that I really did recreate an experience in which I was going to relive and heal from the oppression of the madam, the oppression of the mom, then the oppression of that mom relived through Shiny. Then and I don't really know exactly how, like the twins and the first twins, the runners of mine, how they played into the men in my life. At that time, because if I was a hooker, but I don't know. However, I knew I was in love with somebody. I mean, I know I was, because it was Eric, who was Maurice, who got killed. But I have to think about Jesse a little bit because, again, he's just being nice to me, but there's an expectation there. So he makes me feel like he too is trying to buy me. Go back to that last video I did with my dad suggesting I go and make nice with mom, sell myself in order to get money. So here with Jesse, I feel like I'm selling myself again. And it's not in order to get gifts. That's not it. But he treats me like a prostitute in a way. So it's like he's buying my love and he's buying my affection, but it's not for sale. And if I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. So that lets me kind of, when I go to his side of it, what does that say about him? And I'm not trying to be ugly about him. I'm really trying to dissect this. But maybe he feels like he has to pay for love. Maybe he feels like he is not worthy enough to just earn love because of who he is. So this makes me feel like perhaps he too was in that brothel life. Maybe he was in love with me as a hooker or one of the other hookers, but probably me since we're, doing it again now. But wonder if my heart already belonged to somebody else. Because Eric used to bring me gifts too as Maurice. He would bring me, so sweet, he'd bring me like loaves of bread so I could feed my little sister. And he would give me extra money and we wouldn't even sleep together. He'd just pay me to spend time with me. And so I wonder if Jesse did something similar in that life. And so now he's healing through this life and trying to just buy because if he says there's no expectations, even though there is, he wants to make me happy because that makes him feel happy. But he doesn't have a sex expectation. He's not buying sex from me. He's hoping to earn it through the gifts. But that's not how it is. So I really do think I'm onto something. So I hope that this might help him uncover some of the reasons why he does the things he does with me. Because it might not even really feel like it has anything to do with this life. Because look at me. I've been married for 30 years. I'm a mama of 3 kids. I do mama stuff. I cook dinners and I used to take them to the park and shit. They're not interested anymore. I take them shopping or I take them to get slushies. Whatever it is, I do mama stuff. And I've been with the same man for decades. And I don't even have sex. So I'm like the exact opposite of a prostitute in this life. But look at how much I'm healing from another life. Even my own life at the beginning, it's like there's 2 different me's. And fuck, you know what? I gotta pee so bad. I really am gonna try that pause thing. I don't care. Hang on, I gotta pause. Be right back. Whew. Okay, well, I had to do that out of necessity. So hopefully that'll work out and I won't be so shy to pause it next time. Okay, so I got stuck in a place after figuring all this stuff out. Actually, I didn't even figure this stuff out yet. I got to reverse a little bit. So I was tortured. I was tortured before I laid down the law with Jesse again and told him I wasn't sure if I was going to go or not. This is what was going on in my mind. I was like, okay, either I'm supposed to, what do I do? Do I follow this past life story and the expectation of the guides, or do I stay true to myself and say no? Because I really do want to work for love. And I hate to work for love. I'd rather just have it fall into my lap. But I'm willing to do the work in order to receive the love. So I was willing to go out to Colorado and see if what Eric said was true, that when I see him, I will crack open for him. Now, he didn't say it was Jesse. He just said it was my next love interest. But because of all these story times and because of what's going on, not story times, past life story and whatever, all of the advice I've been given and twin flame mythology, all of these things, I just came to not all the way assume, but it's probably going to be him. But I was confused because Eric said it's when I see him. Fairy Girl said it's when I fuck him. I didn't want to fuck him, but I was willing to go and see if it was when I saw him. But then because I felt so uncomfortable, I realized I didn't have to do all that. I didn't have to go that far. But before I got there, I was going crazy inside my head, crying on, angry, and I didn't even know what to do. I knew I needed an energy healing session, so I kept telling Fairy Girl, broker one for me, find one for me. I don't know why I don't advertise. In fact, if I advertise real soon, or if I did before you see it, it's because it's time. I need to put myself out there more. I don't know why I don't. Because when I do an energy healing session for somebody else, I absolutely reap in those same benefits. So fortunately for me, my brother fell out of a tree. He used to do tree trimming work. And because business is slow, and then he started to work in a restaurant. And he's really good at that. But because of the quarantine and shit, his restaurant slash bars closed down. He's had no income. So he's like, fuck, man, I'm going to go back to my old job and start trimming trees. To make a long story short, he just was out of practice and he didn't pay attention and he fell out of the fucking tree and damaged his vertebrae enough to be in like a I don't know, it's not like a body cast, like a chest cast. I don't know. He's got to be in that for 8 weeks and he broke his foot in a few places. So he's got to be in a foot cast for 6 weeks. So I said, I'll send you some energy healing. Let me know when you're ready. And he's like, I can't do it right now because I have all this shit to do. But I needed a session so bad that I tried to do one for anyway. I don't know why I can't feel like I'm sending, this is my own filter, this is my own limit. But I feel like if I'm going to send somebody energy, I want them to be aware of it and I want them to participate because I know how good it feels. So it's just my own lameness that I can't do it without somebody, the other person being like in a place of being receptive to it. So I kind of gave up on that and I knew I needed it, but I didn't know what to do. So guess what happened? I had a little mini miracle. This is going to make me cry. But because I'm going through all this stuff, I still have insomnia. And back in the good old days, when I'd have my insomnia, I spent so much time trying to fall back asleep. And my fantasies, I'm sure I told you, sorry to be vulgar again, because I apologize right now because I'm like in a place of not being there. But I used to fantasize about how many, I didn't count sheep. I counted how many pillows I'd need to throw on the floor so that I could reach my man when I knelt down on my knees for him. But so that would be the way I'd comfort myself, was to think of all the sexy things that I wanted to do to my man, and I just really have an affinity for blowjobs. But because I'm in a place of kind of fearing sex and not wanting to have anything to do with it, I've gone way over here to way over here. I'm not interested in that at all. So my current fantasies to soothe myself I've gone right back to Michael. And I fantasize often about that hug, that dream hug I had where he's just holding me and I'm happy and I'm safe and I'm content. Because for me, Michael, he's the current human incarnation, but it's his higher self that I love Michael. I don't mean to say I don't, but because of my connection to Margello, Fairy Girl and Margello are each other's favorites. They incarnate together often to provide each other with the biggest challenges there are because we trust each other. We love each other. So for me with him, I don't think I would get the same comfort if I wanted to think about Fairy Boy, because while I do love him, that is more of a romantic connection and friend. He feels very much like a friend, like a fun friend. And I really want to go enjoy myself with him in that fun friend and lover way. But Michael, he has a sense of being my everything. I call him that. I say, you're my favorite everything. And, he is my parent, he is my child, he is my sibling, he is my lover, he is my friend, he is my home. He is, even though I'm whole without him, he still feels like the other piece of me. I mean, I love this man so much. And he is also my safe place. So I've been spending a lot of time in my fantasies in that hug. And out of the blue, 6 or 7 days ago, I get a message from him. And I know I'm not interested in anybody else's songs. Fuck you, I'll find my own. But he happened to send me a song. He said, did I ever send this to you? And I'm like, I didn't know what it was yet. And so I had to open his message. First I had to, breathe and hyperventilate for a while because he has such an effect on me. And so I'm like, why the fuck? So I open it and it's a song. And it's it's a song from 50 years ago. It's as old as I am, back from the 70s. And I'm assuming it's in Dutch. It wasn't in English. But the reason he sent it is because it's a song called Layla. And he thinks that's why he messaged me, was just to share this song about Layla. And I'm thinking of all the things that you can choose to share with me. You're going to pick some song from 1,000 years ago. That wasn't it at all. Not too long ago, the guides reminded me that Michael and I will come in and out of each other's lives when we needed each other. And I sure needed him. Because he has such a strong effect on me that just that little bit of communication allowed for me to have that release that I could not bring myself to through the energy healing with my brother or by myself. So I cried for like 2 days. And in the middle of my crying is when my realization came that I am not going. I'm not going. I'm not going to do it. That was my surrender, to give up what I believed others had expected of me. I gave that up. I surrendered that expectation. I was so off before. It wasn't I was surrendering the control that the fear of meeting Jesse would have over me. Although that's not true, I did surrender that. And I gotta say, I'm very proud of myself for choosing to go and spend time with him despite my resistance. I'm proud of myself. That was very brave. Luckily, I didn't have to do that, because I'm equally brave in saying, you know what? I'm not responsible for his joy. He's responsible for his joy. And I know my decision has hurt him. And I keep thinking to myself, I feel bad for hurting him, but I don't have to feel bad. I don't have to feel anything. I do have compassion for him because I've been on that side and I know how devastating it is. I know how outlandish it is. Twin shit isn't regular shit. It's processing from other lifetimes. So he's not doing regular suffering. He's doing double suffering. So I do have compassion for that, but it's not my job to make him feel better. All of the inner work he's doing through me is for him, whether it's, how he feels about himself, how he looks, all of the things that he's doing is not for me, it's for him, even though it feels like it's for me. All of the things I went through, I can't lay that shit on Michael or Fairy Boy because they didn't ask me to do it. It was for me. But I want to go back to Michael for just a second, because the reason I also feel like this is a little miracle, I feel so grateful for what happened, because he really isn't the kind of person that feels obligated to share things with anybody. He's content in just knowing things for himself. And so, I would please, back in the day, I'd be like, give me a piece of yourself. Tell me a story. What did you do with your day? And I usually didn't get anything. So on the rare times I did, I would just eat it up. So this time I got an opportunity. I did. I'm like, so what's going on in your life? How's life treating you? What's going on with you? And the very next thing that fell out of his mouth, and I went and checked I was afraid to go check his wall. I did not want to see pictures because, as I said, I'm very sensitive. Remember, I used to have to look through my eyes because I didn't want to see things that would hurt me. And even though I don't have an expectation of him, he can live his life any way he wants. He's entitled to put any picture he wants ever. I'm still in a place where it affects me. So in retrospect, after I already learned the news, I went back to see if he had posted it online so I could share this part of the story with you. And he did post it online, so I'm not giving up secrets that he didn't already share. And what he told me, what just fell out of his mouth so casually was that, this weekend I'm having a housewarming party because I bought a new house. And I say I, but he meant we. I don't like to think of that we part so much. And we're having a gender reveal party, a housewarming / gender reveal party. What? So Michael, he's going to be a daddy. And I was told this years ago that, at first, I won't even tell you that his path, but whatever. I gifted him a reading with Justin Schmoyer a long time ago. And he allowed for me to read this reading. And because it was written down. Well, no, he took notes. That's what it was. He took extensive notes and sent me his notes. I was so surprised because, like I said, any little tidbit. And here I have like a page of notes this long. And it said that he was going to be a dad. I think it said 2 kids. I can't remember. Well, I was such a crazy motherfucker that I ran out and I bought him a sack full of baby clothes. And it worked for me. It brought me comfort. It allowed for me to be okay with him moving on and having a baby. And I love babies and I love him. And it's always seemed very important to me that he have a baby. So now he's having that baby. So I joked with him and told him that, I dug through those baby clothes and he's going to have to either have a boy or a cross-dresser because while most of the clothes are neutral, some of them are clearly boy. But if I had seen that through my spying of him, because I do still check on him. Sometimes I love him, and I just do. If I had seen that post, it would have been more stabs in my heart. And while he doesn't owe me anything, the guides know how that would have affected me. So I feel so taken care of by them for allowing me to learn this big news through him rather than on the internet through my peeking. And what this also did is allow me to see how far I've come in my love for him, because I hold no expectations of him at all. I mean, I do believe we'll reconnect, but it's not like an expectation that I need in order to make my life complete. But I was so happy for him that I truly have come to a place of unconditional love, because it doesn't matter what he does. He can go buy a house with this girl. He can have a baby with this girl, and still I get to be happy for him and not feel like a victim. So this was like the first exchange that he and I have had that did not bring pain to me. So let that be hope to all chasers out there, that you can in fact get to a place where they can live their life and it doesn't hurt you. So congratulations to Michael. Congratulations to him. And I love babies so much, and I love him so much. I am doubtful about this, but I am putting it out there that I get an opportunity to meet, hold, and sniff that little baby before it gets too big. Okay, so let me continue on with my story, because I want to debunk some of the stuff that I said in the other video 2 videos ago. I mentioned that my friend had spoke about healing through a relationship, and that was like a new concept to me, because the healing through relationships I've done has been completely fabricated. Like, I was in a relationship with Michael for 4 years, but he had completely moved on. He had moved in with his girlfriend. He didn't even talk to me. I wasn't even on his radar, but still I was having a relationship with that dynamic, whatever it was. So all of that was on me. That was all inner work. So for me to have the thought that I might heal through somebody else is a new concept. And I'm not sure how well that sits with me, because remember when I talked about in that one video about how I couldn't see Jesse, but I had a sense of it being him, and he's chiseling away at my outer layer, my outer protective layer of energetic fat or whatever it was, just the place I chose to hide in. Maybe the reason I couldn't see him was not because I don't want to see him, like really literally see him with my eyes, but because it wasn't him at all. Because, hang on, I got snots. Because that's giving my power away. That's me saying he has the power to heal me. Nobody has the power to heal me but myself and my inner work. I may do it through either my love or resistance through another person, but it's still my inner work. And I'm not about to give that power to somebody else. So maybe there is healing through a relationship. But this is it. This is the relationship. This is the healing through the relationship. It's not me going and like dating him and whatever. That's not it. So I'm taking that power back. He doesn't have that power to heal me. And then the other thing that I wanted to kind of address, I don't understand. Remember, I was talking about that feeling of being wrong and that sense of like having to eat humble pie. I'm still not sure what that's about. It might be that, because I try to investigate what is it on the flip side, with my feelings towards Michael and Fairy Boy. How will I feel when they come back to me? And it does very much have a sense of, I told you so, the opposite of having to swallow my pride and by being wrong. But in my I told you so attitude, it's not a matter of gloating. I told you so. It's more like, I knew it all along. Yay, I was right. But I don't even get to know that. I was just using that as a comparison and trying to decipher if that's really what I meant by that humble pie. I don't know. Maybe that feeling was just really that I'm wrong about Jesse again. And Pierre was right and Eric was right when he told me, no, he's not your twin. No, he is my twin, but in that particular context, I meant like a love relationship twin, like a coming together in a union kind of twin. He said no. Every time I'd ask him, he'd say no. And I'd be like, am I going to flip flop? He goes, am I going to, flip my switch and love him? He goes, you're not a flip flopper. So he kept telling me. So that's what I meant by they were spoon feeding me or spoon phoning me my denial. But maybe it wasn't denial. Maybe it was the truth. I don't get to know, but what I do know is that it is my truth right now is that I'm not going to Colorado. I'm not doing what's expected of me. I have grown my balls. I have found my power and I feel so good because of it. So part of me still wonders if I am still to do some healing through Jesse or just allow him to catch up and heal through me. And that we will still come together and have this union. I don't know. Or maybe it's his path to, I don't know, because nothing's guaranteed. Because I keep saying maybe, well, it is possibly my path to never get these boys I'm chasing because I never did before. And maybe I have to be okay with it. And maybe he needs to be okay with never having me, never having the girl he tries to pay for. I don't know if that's his path, but that's just my own musings based on my filter and how I've felt about the relationship between us. So if I'm going to go by the twin flame mythology, I got to say that probably, but I don't know. I can't know for sure. So I'm going to let that go too. And I'm going to let any kind of power that has over me go, and I'm just going to be grateful that I'm done with this particular lesson. And I have, I always talk about my robot, my Instant Pot robot cooker, and man, that thing can really steam full of such radical pressure that you got to walk away because it explodes. It's like a little mini volcano in your kitchen. So you got to leave it alone till it's ready to chill itself out. So I'm going to leave all that stuff alone. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to let life come at me as it will. And I understand that if I do have more lessons with him, it's going to be more push-pull. I'll probably be angry again because with Michael and Fairy Boy, the sense of everything was desperation and wanting something I couldn't have and chasing and being hurt and being rejected. But it was also filled with a fuckload of love. I loved loving them. I loved fantasizing about them. Writing love letters to him was such a huge release for me. It was more than a release. It was a thrill. It felt good. I thrived on that shit. But with Jesse, and so I was always working towards a goal. I was always working towards love, even though I understand that the prize at the end of the journey is the healing that you've already done and not the carrot they've been dangling in front of you. Still, I had that carrot, so I had motivation. But with Jesse, that carrot isn't there. So I'm pushing myself and I'm trudging through this thing I don't want to go through. And there isn't even the carrot at the other end. There isn't a person at the other end that I want, that I'm striving towards. In fact, it's the exact opposite. I felt like I was pushing myself into something that I don't even want in the first place. So that's why I would take him out of the equation and just tell myself I'm pushing myself so that I can have love. And that's still true. I'm pushing myself so I can have love, but I never wanted it with Jesse. So I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Why is it so hard to find love? And I'm pushing myself into something that I don't even want. It was making me nuts. So I don't need to do that. I don't need to do anything that doesn't feel good. Well, you do got to push through things that don't feel good. You do have to do that, but you have to, again, going back to that yellow chakra, look, I got yellow again, is that one experience I had with that one past life with that one guy. You have to be able to tell which Which ugliness is worth pushing through and which ugliness is worth cutting off? And I'm in this place right now because I felt such relief with cutting shiny off. And I'm using the word shiny, but you can read between the lines and know what that really means. I felt such relief with shiny, and I have no intention of going back to that shiny dynamic ever again. And I mentioned again, if the people that I've cut off, the toxic people in my life that I've cut off, if they grow, evolve, and match my vibration once again, then I'm open to having a relationship with these people. But if not, then now with Michael and Fairy Boy, I absolutely want that vibration to match. But in my current twin relationship, I really don't. So maybe it doesn't have to match. I don't know. I keep trying to say, that might work for me, but how will that benefit Jesse? Because that was another reason. That was another reason why I wanted to push through this, is because here I am in front of the camera, and I know I'm teaching you guys through my experience. I'm learning and teaching at the same time. And I felt like it was almost like my obligation. I'm the one doing all this stuff first. I am the one with the most knowledge of how this stuff works because I'm the one that it has affected so much. I know it's affected Jesse too, but he didn't have the 6 years of learning that I did. So he does not have the perspective I do. So because I'm the one with the perspective, I feel like not only is it my path to teach you guys so that you can apply it to your own life, but I felt like if my twinnies do come back and watch, if that's the path that they have chosen to teach my own personal twinnies what's next for them in their evolution when they get to this place, if they get to this place of inner working through me, I want it to be the way shower and show them that you push through it and love is waiting for you. So that was another reason. I again was feeling like I had influence over their actions. Like Jesse is feeling that he has influence over my actions, and he doesn't, and I don't. I can only work on and grow myself. And if somebody else benefits from it, then more power to them. But I can't control them any more than they can control me. So I fell into that kind of expectation again for a minute too. Don't give your power to anybody. Don't put expectations on anybody. Don't allow anybody to put expectations on yourself. That's what the biggest part of this whole thing has been. And being able to relate it, to close it up with that tight little bow, I said, going back to the mama issues, the men issues, going back to the madam issues and the client issues, the brothel, all of these things, I just see how they've tied together. So I'm wondering, did I say this already? I'll say it again if not. Remember, I keep talking about this other girl, the one that I'm having a parallel life with, and I want to meet her. I asked Heather to trans-channel her. Wonder if she's this Mariana. Wonder if when I said I had no more prospects, it's because Eric died. And so I'm feeling like, well, here's this other guy, and he's pursuing me. Maybe I'll give him a shot. And in that lifetime, either, I finally caved in or according to Fairy Girl, I caved in and I fell in love with him. But this girl, I'm not going that route first. I will never, I don't know, I was going to say, I will never, ever, ever fuck somebody that I'm not attracted to. I'm not going to say I have to love him first, but I have to, at the very least, be attracted to him. Because otherwise, it does feel like a fucking hooker. Here, I'm paying you. You have to do this for me because it's your job. You don't get to say whether you want to or not. You're going to do it because you're a good girl. And if you want to live in my house, you're going to do as you're told. That's what it feels like to go and fuck somebody that I don't want to fuck. Even if I believe that there may be a possibility of love at the other side. In this particular instance, love must come first. Or passion, but I don't feel that either. I don't feel either of them. And I'm not going to fly out to Colorado to see if that's the case. It's too soon. There's just no way all of this inner work is going to be done in a month or whatever it is, 6 weeks. So I'm not saying that Jesse and I don't have a future together. In fact, we'll probably at least be friends. I don't these relationships are too meaningful, at least for the chasers in them, for them to not at least come to a place of friendship. Okay, I just talked for a whole hour just about, and I'll probably add something at the beginning or the end, but I'm going to shut it down right now. I think I did pretty good with this one. I certainly hope so. So, my plan, well, never mind. I'll tell you my plan in the other video, and you will have watched that one, so you don't need to see it. So, thank you again. I hope that you just, I don't even want to release that other video I'm about to release because I want to jump right to this one. But I feel like there's relevant information in there that will play off of this one, or this one will play off that one. So I'm going to go ahead and release it, but I'm not going to make anybody wait like another 3 weeks for this one here. I'm going to post the other one and then very soon after I post this one. So thank you again for allowing me to learn and grow through you. These stories help me so much. And because I rehearse what I'm going to say, it's one of the, I used to write to my boys. I used to journal to them. Now I practice in my head and I go on, and then I give it to you. So it's definitely healing to share your story. And, I know you guys give me little bits and pieces in your comments. I haven't even addressed the last one yet. Thank you for your continued support. All right. Until the next time, I'm sure there's more. See you then. Thanks. Bye.